How's our financial plan coming?
Super! Chris, any advice?
With Western and Southern, preparing for your financial future can be easier than you think. Favorite receiver?
Huh?
To get started, visit westernsouthern.com.
Welcome into PFF HQ. Austin Gayle here with lead draft analyst Mike Renner. We are diving into the latest 2020 NFL mock draft. It's mock draft season. People know which teams are going to the playoffs. It's where we're at in the season right now. People want to know who are they drafting come April. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Even with the win over the New York Jets, Cincinnati Bengals there at number 1, they take Joe Burrow of LSU.
Yeah, this one is not changing anytime soon. If the Bengals are going to be at number 1, if they're going to have the number 1 overall pick, if it's not going to be the Giants or the Redskins, if it is the Bengals, they're going Joe Burrow at number 1. He has been that good over the course of the year. His accuracy percentage on throws past the line of scrimmage is over 10 percentage points better than the next closest quarterback in college football this season. That is absurd accuracy. He is playing at another level. He is the easy number 1 overall pick.
Makes a ton of sense. Former Mr. Ohio, coach's son. I see the Cincinnati Bengals falling in love. Let's go to the Giants at number 2. They bring in Chase Young of Ohio State. This is a no-brainer. The best non-quarterback in the class.
I was going to say, with the draft order as it is now, 1 and 2 should be no-brainers. Chase Young, like you said, the best non-quarterback in this class. Going to break the PFF record for single-season pass rushing grade. Size, speed, athleticism, hands, everything you want out of the edge rush. Like, he is a surefire sort of perennial Pro Bowl type of player in our eyes.
Very high floor player, has all the production, size, all of that stuff. Let's go to the Washington Redskins. Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle of Georgia, very athletic, smooth-moving offensive tackle. They come in, replace Trent Williams.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they have Dwayne Haskins there. They're pretty much, he is their guy moving forward, so no QB for them, but you got to get them some protection. We've seen the quarterbacks who have been good right out the gate as rookies, second-year players. They all have good offensive lines for the most part in recent memory. Andrew Thomas needs to fill in that left tackle position, left vacant by Trent Williams. Brandon Scherf's going to be a free agent, so a ton of help needed along that offensive line. Thomas, what he's doing as a true junior, highest graded Power 5 draft eligible tackle in the country right now, he's been dominant.
Darius Geis looked pretty good in Week 13. I think they have something in Terry McLaurin. Add a piece there offensively, build around Dwayne Haskins. I'm a big fan. Number 4, Justin Herbert, Oregon quarterback, goes to the Miami Dolphins, a guy that has probably the best arm talent in the class, struggles maybe in the big game situations, but again, a very good thrower of the football.
That's the thing. So this is not necessarily what we would do. This is we're projecting what will actually happen in Justin Herbert with that arm talent. It just doesn't go outside the top 5. If you're there, the Dolphins, you don't need a guy who necessarily is going to do it for you right away. You need a guy you can mold. He has all the tools available at his disposal to be a moldable sort of piece at the quarterback position to develop for the long term in this long-term rebuild that the Dolphins are in the midst of. Had that awful game a couple weeks back against Arizona State. We'll see how he does in the Pac-12 title game against Utah. Huge test for him, but if he answers the bell on that one, I think you can pretty much pencil him into the top 5 with how much of a cannon he has. And he's accurate, too. It's not just that he has a strong arm. He's very accurate with the football. It's the decision-making that we still question.
That game against Utah is a huge opportunity for him to kind of secure his status as a top 5 pick. I'm looking forward to that. Let's go to number 5 here. They bring in Jeffrey Okudah, the Ohio State cornerback, former 5-star, great length, great size, and the production. What he's doing with the ball, at the catch point is pretty incredible.
Yeah, he's allowing a passer rating lower than simply spiking the ball in the dirt every single play this season. 3 picks on the year. Didn't have one coming in, but he's shown those ball skills that I think have pushed him up into that sort of top 5 conversation. Length, athleticism, very much like Chase Young in terms of he ticks every box you want to at the cornerback position. It's just how high can he push his ceiling. I think it's a pretty damn high ceiling for Okudah.
That's a great pick for the Falcons. Detroit at number 6, they bring in A.J. Epinesa, the Iowa edge defender, a big framed guy that has had great pass rush production of late. I really do think this guy translates instantly to the NFL.
As I say, this guy has a pass rushing win rate over 20% for his career. Now, 20% is higher than guys like Montez Sweat, Cleveland Farrell, first rounders from last year had in their final season of college football. That's career numbers for Epinesa. So incredibly productive all 3 years at Iowa and fits, as long as Matt Patricia is still there, he is going to be coveted in that scheme in terms of versatility. He can go off the edge, kick inside, play the run and pass. That's what they look for in that New England scheme that he brought over. He is a perfect fit for that.
Trey Flowers and Epinesa,
very similar
that
players.
is a very good defensive line. Let's go to the Arizona Cardinals. They bring in Tristan Wirfs, fellow Iowa teammate, another athletic offensive tackle, underclassman, still very young, getting better. I think this is a huge pick for Kyler Murray and company.
Yeah, I say the athleticism going to play well there in the scheme out in Arizona. I do think he can play either tackle or guard. Probably kickstay him at tackle there with Arizona, with Kyler Murray there, because he can hold up extremely well to the bull rush. Basically, doesn't get bull rushed at all. And with Kyler Murray, a lot of teams just choose to bull rush their ends, play contain. And if that's the case, you're not going to move him an inch. He's going to give a huge pocket for Kyler Murray to step up into. So I think it's a perfect fit for that Cardinals scheme.
Makes a ton of sense. Let's go Jacksonville, number 8, Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver of Alabama. Yes, he struggled with drops. You'd like to see those go away. But again, one of the better separators in the class. Very good after the catch. I mean, this guy is the wide receiver 1 right now.
I'll say struggle with drops, but this year he's 7 drops and 78 catchable. That's still below 10%. 10% is pretty much the threshold we look at. If you're above that, we can get concerning, but it's still not super concerning for him on the year. As dynamic a playmaker as there exists in college football with the ball in his hands, probably the best route runner in college football, right out there with maybe CeeDee Lamb. Another offensive weapon there that they could use in Jacksonville, someone to get open for Nick Foles or Gardner Minshew, whoever's behind him.
Moving to number 9. I think it's going to be Gardner Minshew, by the way. Foles just got benched. Bring the mustache back. Number 9, Alex Leatherwood, the offensive lineman of Alabama. They go to New York.
Yeah, you watched them this past week. Carlos Dunlap tore up that Jets offensive line. They need help at tackle. They do have Chuma Edoga there, developing as a rookie. Kelvin Beachum on the other side, so maybe he starts in at guard earlier in his career. But Leatherwood, love his athleticism, love his length, love basically scheme diverse, can do whatever you ask him to do. And a lot of his losses this year have not been one-on-ones. They've been more picking up stunts, twists, not picking up blitzers, which we're not going to worry too much about that. It's those one-on-one pass protection reps that we care about. Leatherwood's been as good as anyone in the country in those.
This is a very good offensive line class. 3 guys in the top 10. I know there's another Alabama guy coming up. Let's go to number 10 here. Jedrek Wills Jr. of Alabama. He's the run-blocking, powerful offensive tackle. He goes to Los Angeles Chargers, who desperately need offensive tackle help. This is a great fit.
I was going to say, Chargers picking right tackles from Alabama didn't work too well in the past with DJ Fluker, but this is a different type of player than DJ Fluker. Fluker was a hulking, run-blocking type of tackle. That's not what you want in today's NFL. There's a reason why he kicked inside the guard. Will's on the opposite end of the spectrum. He is a freak athletically. He is going to blow out the combine, similar to, might put up Lane Johnson-esque type numbers there with how explosive he is, and that translates in the run game, but also in pass protection where he gets depth about as well as anyone in this class. Still some issues to clear up there, but the talent is there. Only a true junior at this point. His ceiling, he could push as high as probably anyone in this tackle class. It is a very, very, like I said, 4 now offensive tackles in that top 10. I would be very surprised if we didn't see a run on offensive tackles because it's not super deep, but there's 4 or 5 guys at the top of this class, very quality, so expect them to go off early.
And there are a ton of teams in the NFL that need offensive tackles. There are so many teams that need a guy like Jedrek Wills or Alex Leatherwood. Number 11, Derrick Brown, a guy that's kind of been popping up on the the Twitter timeline a ton. He makes a ton of splash plays. A very big dude who's making plays as a run defender and as a pass rusher.
He's not the most disruptive, interior player that we've ever seen, but he probably loses less than any interior player we've ever seen. If it's a one-on-one interaction, he is going to control it. He is just a big-ass dude, big, powerful. Not necessarily your quintessential 3 technique. He's not going to be Aaron Donald, not going to be Fletcher Cox. He's not that level athletically, but he's more of a Linval Joseph type of mold where he's just going to push the pocket. He's going to control multiple gaps in the run game, and that is still a very effective defensive tackle to have. Obviously, the Denver Broncos, they lose Derek Wolfe this offseason, or he's set to become a free agent. Don't have a ton there on that interior. Could add someone to help that run defense, help that pass rush.
Let's go to number 12. Crazy that the Eagles are picking at 12.
I know.
This season has not gone well for them. But they bring in a guy they desperately need, Christian Fulton of LSU, a great man corner for them. They need cornerback help like they need air to breathe. Christian Fulton at 12 makes a ton of sense.
I was going to say, if you would have come out last year and they would have picked him, they might not be having as bad a season as they are now, but their cornerback group, arguably the worst in the NFL right now with how they've performed. Basically cannot hold up in man coverage. Christian Fulton outgraded teammate Greedy Williams last year, highest graded cornerback in SEC play this year. Dude's been getting the job done for multiple seasons now. Feel really comfortable about him being a top 15 type pick.
Don't overthink it. Yes, you've invested in the secondary, but go get a guy that's actually good. And I think Christian Fulton is exactly that. Number 13, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are bringing another cornerback, Trayvon Diggs, a very good cornerback for Alabama. Good size, good length. Brother of Stephon Diggs, has some ball skills there. I like Trayvon. Yeah,
they're in very similar boats here, the Eagles and the Bucs, where they've invested a lot in cornerback. They've drafted a lot of guys, have not hit on a lot of guys. And until you hit on guys at cornerback position, you better keep drafting them because it's a valuable position there. Jamel Dean has looked good over the past few weeks here. They could add another big cornerback in Trayvon Diggs. Play press man. Diggs, though, not just a press man corner. Yes, he has that ridiculous length. I love his instincts in zone coverage. People forget about the pick he had on Joe Burrow because it got waved off by a penalty, but that was a legit field play in zone coverage that he made on the football. Has done that routinely this year at Alabama. Has the length to break up a ton of passes. He's going to be a PBU machine in the NFL.
Definitely like that. Number 14, let's go Carolina Panthers. They bring in Javon Kinlaw. This guy, every time I see this image, just fat bicep. Kinlaw, a disruptor at the defensive line. A very good interior defender, goes to Carolina.
Oh, he's thick, and he's not just a gap holder. He is explosive as well. They need someone else on the interior. They've been looking for it for years now to go next to Kawan Short and create disruption. What was the guy's name a few years back? They drafted in the first round, whose name is now escaping me. Vernon Butler.
Yes.
He didn't pan out. Signed Dontari Poe. Hasn't panned out super well. Signed Gerald McCoy. Hasn't panned out exactly. So get a guy in the first round there that can attack the passer. That's Javon Kinlaw. All the potential in the world with how athletic he is, how long he is,
He's so
and
long.
Productive. Highest pass rushing grade of any returning defensive tackle in the country coming into this year, and now he has a 90-plus pass rushing grade this year. Incredible production with the size. Feel good about him.
A freak athletically, and the dude is huge. Let's go to the Browns. Number 15, Isaiah Simmons, the kind of linebacker, safety hybrid for Clemson. He can do it all, but what he can do the best is play in the NFL and play coverage. That's what you need at that position.
Yeah, I was say you can basically do anything you want with him. You want him to cover slot, he could probably do that. You want him to play safety, he can do that. Linebacker, though, seemingly probably his best position, that or like nickel dime safety type of role for him. But like you said, freak athletically, ridiculous length, can cover so much ground and just shut down passing windows over the middle of the field. Linebacker position there for the Browns. Joe Schobert going to be a free agent. No sort of sure thing that they re-sign him. Could be a difference maker, and even if they do re-sign Schobert, two difference makers there in the middle would be big for them.
A very athletic group, Schobert and Isaiah Simmons. That's a great one right there. Oakland Raiders at number 16. They bring in Oklahoma receiver CeeDee Lamb, a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award. He's battled injuries a little bit this year, but he still looks fantastic. 11.1 yards after the catch per reception. That's that average this year. He has been great with and without the ball in his hands.
Yeah, that go back to that play against Kansas State. He tried to put the team on his back. Took that screen to the house there to almost bring them all the way back. He is absurdly good before the catch as a route runner, absurdly good after the catch. Like you mentioned, that average and 18 broken tackles on 50 catches this season, leads all draft-eligible receivers in yards per route. There's not a lot that he can't do. I'd honestly, I put him at 16 here to the Raiders. I'd kind of be surprised if he ends up dropping that far when it comes draft time because he is a special player in our eyes.
He could fly into the top 10. And Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, both of those guys have potential to be true wide receiver ones in the NFL. Let's go 17. Lavista Chennault, another great receiver, one we had an opportunity to interview on the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. A very good dude, versatile player, wants to be this versatile gadget player in the NFL. He can do everything and everything pretty well.
I was going to say, they tried to get that sort of gadget player with Paris Campbell last year. I don't think he is necessarily that guy. He is not on Chenault's level by any of our grading, by any of our charting, by any of our broken tackle numbers, that sort of thing. Chennault is a different sort of dude. 30 broken tackles last year, 15 so far this season. Has been dealing with injuries, so they've moved him out wide more. But if you go back to that tape last year, when they just got the ball in his hands, he made plays consistently. And I think that's who he's going to be at the NFL level, someone where maybe he's not going to be CeeDee Lamb on the outside in terms of his route running ability, but he has enough speed to beat you deep, has great ball skills at the catch point, and if you just get the ball in his hands, good things happen.
Battling injuries is an understatement. 2 off-season surgeries, toe, labrum, abdominal, and knee injuries that he's suffering this year. I think that he's going to be a different player when fully healthy in the NFL. Oakland Raiders back again, number 18. They bring in Marvin Wilson, one of the better interior pass rushers in this class, a mountain of a dude, and still very young and getting better.
Yeah, what I love about, two things I love about about Wilson. One is that he can pass rush from the nose tackle position. He can stuff the run. He can hold his gaps. He's big enough, obviously, if you just look at that picture there. He's definitely big enough to hold up that nose in the NFL, but then also push the pocket and rush there. So they got Maurice Hurst. He is a difference maker on the interior. No one else really, though, on that interior that's doing much from a pass rushing perspective. Wilson could be that guy for them. And then, like you mentioned, he's only a junior. And he had a good pass rushing grade as a sophomore. Now one of the best pass rushing grades in the country as a junior. Has the hand injuries. Was out for the year. Has missed the past few weeks here for Florida State. But early on the season, we saw him at his best, and it was damn near unblockable.
John Gruden says it's hard to find a good pass rusher. You need to keep throwing capital at the defensive line until you find a good one. I think the Max Crosby building up a little bit. Add Marvin Wilson to the mix. That would be nice. Number 19, your Gross Matos, another defensive lineman for Penn State. A versatile player. You like his length. You like his size. I think a high ceiling for this kid in the NFL.
I was going to say, he seems like he's still scratching the surface. Has some really high-end reps against good tackles where, eye-opening. You see the athleticism. Is a very long strider, long-limbed, but then the consistency is just not quite there, but projects well as both a run defender and a pass rusher at the next level. And like I said, he's still a guy who we've seen him get better every single year of his career, and to be only a true junior producing in the Big Ten the way he has is encouraging. So I think he ends up going in the first round should he declare. He just athletically has a lot that you like to see project into the NFL at the edge position.
I think teams are going to fall in love with him as a project, someone they can see getting better at the next level with good coaching. Jacksonville Jaguars at 20, they bring in Grant Delpit, a guy that we've always talked about that is great in coverage, has all this range in the world, but has struggled with missed tackles, however, not enough to drag him out of the first round.
Yeah, Jaguars safety position has been ugly at times so far this year, starting undrafted free agents here late in the season. Grant Delpit has the missed tackle issues, but he's also battled injuries this year that have led to a lot of those missed tackles. When healthy, though, you see the range, you see his dynamic coverage ability, instincts that you just can't teach at the safety position, and size at about 6'3". Could be a potential guy to be, in that Derwin James box role where you're doing just a lot around the line of scrimmage and adding to that coverage. So I do think is sort of a missing piece in that Jaguars defense still.
21, Dallas Cowboys, they bring in Julian Okwara, the edge defender of Notre Dame, a guy that's had a lot of success at Notre Dame, a good pass rusher, great one at the back end of the first round.
Yeah, another guy whose season was cut short a little bit due to injury, but a 90-plus pass rushing grade this year as a senior. Not even 250 pounds, but he is as explosive and as athletic as any edge rusher in the country. He's probably going to test out like a wide receiver at the combine in terms of how he moves athletically. And still, at under 250 pounds, what I love is that he bull rushes with the best of them. He has a fantastic long arm, knows how to use his length and explosiveness to turn speed to power. I think that's going to translate well to the NFL and sort of fits the mold that the Cowboys like in terms of penetrators, guys who can get up the field.
22, Miami Dolphins. They bring in Josh Jones. Group of 5 offensive tackles, super athletic, has graded very well for us over the past few years, and this year especially. He's got a Senior Bowl invite as well. I think this kid going in the first round.
This is a guy I see his stock shooting through the roof at the Senior Bowl, similar to someone like Titus Howard last year, who wasn't really on many radars coming out of Alabama State, was it? Then ends up going 23rd overall to the Houston Texans, now starting well for them on the right side. I think that could be Josh Jones just because he has been dominating there at Houston. Only a handful of pressures allowed all season long. The highest graded draft eligible lineman in the country. And the Miami Dolphins, we gave them Herbert, in the top 5. Now get someone to protect for him because it's pretty ugly there up front along that Miami offensive line.
Kansas City Chiefs, 23. They bring in C.J. Henderson, cornerback of Florida, a guy that wasn't tested well a year ago, tested a little bit more this year, still grading well, still great production and coverage.
As I say, he can still stick with wide receivers in man coverage as well as any cornerback in the country. There's been some mental lapses, has given up some big plays this year, but on a down-in, down-out basis, he is extremely good in terms of just playing man coverage. I think the Chiefs need that. They don't have a guy who can just, stick him on a top-tier wideout and you'll be fine. I think that's C.J. Henderson at the next level.
Very sticky guy in man coverage. Let's go 24. Minnesota Vikings, they bring in Jalen Johnson, another cornerback, long guy, probably the best cornerback on Utah's defense, or best defender maybe on Utah's defense. Very good for Utah, a mainstay there.
Love his instincts. He has been a playmaker all 3 years there at Utah. Only a junior, so no sure thing to come out, but I think he will with what he's put on tape this past year. Love his playmaking ability. He had a pick last year against J.J. Arcega-Whiteside where he just got the best of him in the end zone on that goal line fade that he was so good at there at Stanford. Love his ball skills. Not the freakiest athlete in the world, but I think Minnesota Vikings, Mike Zimmer, they love cornerbacks. They love drafting cornerbacks because they know how valuable that position is. Trey Wayne's probably moving on. Xavier Rhodes has not been the guy that we've seen from him in years past. So another big cornerback like Johnson adding to that mix would just help your coverage defense.
Time to reload at cornerback for Zimmer. Another thing, too, he has a huge opportunity against Justin Herbert to make a name for himself, have a big game. Let's go 25. Curtis Weaver of Boise State. Versatile edge defender, can play inside, play outside. Some of the best pass rush production in the country from Weaver.
Yeah, I'd say another guy who I think will start to move up draft boards. We'll see closer and closer to the draft. Not getting a ton of first-round hype right now, but his production at Boise State is just off the charts. When he gets single block there, he wins. And I think similar to Josh Jones, who we gave the Dolphins as well, when you're just that productive, that utterly dominant, he's not going to test like a freak athletically, but he is good enough, athletic enough, and powerful enough to hold up on the edge in the NFL. I think he is going to be a very productive NFL player. Right now, he's our edge 3 behind A.J. Epinesa and Chase Young.
The guy doesn't lose. In the Mountain West, he just doesn't lose. They even drop him back into coverage, and he kind of looks good in coverage in the Mountain West. That's how good Curtis Weaver is. Let's go Tyler Biadasz, the interior offensive lineman for Wisconsin. This is going to the Buffalo Bills. They're trying to retool that offensive line, help Josh Allen continue to add to that offense.
Yeah, they signed Quentin Spain only on a 1-year deal, and he's been very integral to what they've done this year, but no sort of sure thing that they get him back. So interior offensive line, guard there, will likely be in need this offseason. Tyler Biadasz can play all 3 interior positions, has the size, has the athleticism. I don't think you can let that offensive line take any sort of step back after what we've seen, the improvement they made this year and how much that's fueled their offense and made Josh Allen, just giving him more opportunity to work. I think you need to keep improving that offensive line, give him one of the better offensive lines in the league, especially with his legs and how much they've been using him as a running threat in that offense. Very similar to the Ravens, where if you just build a great offensive line in front of a quarterback who can run, all of a sudden you have a pretty damn good offense. So I do think Biadasz would help and go a long way for them, where it might not be as big of a need for a lot of other teams who might need guard or center help.
Definitely smart to keep throwing resources at it, because even the pieces they add this offseason are Band-Aid solutions, not necessarily long-term investments like Biadasz can be. 27, Green Bay Packers, they bring in Tua Tagovailoa. I love this pick. Guy obviously battling an injury, not sure when he'll be fully healthy again, but if there's any team that's got time to kind of sit and wait, Aaron Rodgers obviously understand for the Packers, you bring in Tua Tagovailoa and start grooming him to be the next quarterback in Green Bay.
That's the thing. There's teams that can take that sort of risk that have, 1, the draft capital, 2, the ability to let a guy sit early on in his career. Green Bay Packers at this late. We've seen it from Aaron Rodgers. He has not, over the past few years, graded out nearly as well as we did in the middle of his career. We've seen, his legs were such an integral part of his success early on, and he has been sort of slipping in that regard. He's still athletic, but he's on the downward side of his career. And so they drafted Rodgers, way back in 2005 when Favre was still, ready to play 3 or 4 more years. I could see that being the case with Tagovailoa. Not a lot of teams are probably going to take a risk on him with that injury, but if there is one, like I said, the Packers would be smart to start grooming a quarterback of the future, especially with the way their backups have looked when forced into action, because Aaron Rodgers, he just takes a lot of shots with the sacks he takes.
And you definitely have to do that, because I'm telling you right now, 29, Tua Tagovailoa still on the board, Patriots thinking about him. I think that's an option for Tua especially. Let's go 28, you have Bryce Hall, cornerback of Virginia, went down with a season-ending injury playing punt coverage this year, but I'll tell you what, the guy can cover, very versatile defender, good in man coverage, probably better in zone, but I really do like him in Seattle.
Yeah, only allowed a few first downs all season long when he was in the 6 games that he did play before the ankle injury. Led the nation in forced incompletions a year ago. Probably could have gone out and been a first rounder. Came back, just didn't get tested this year. No one was throwing his way. Smartly. Very much a difference maker. And I think he is a guy who, if you bring him into a Seattle cover 3 type of defense or a man-heavy defense, that is where he'll excel. Get him in press coverage around the line of scrimmage and let him work. Not going to be a very versatile sort of cornerback, probably not going to kick into the slot too much, but in that sort of scheme, I think he could be very effective. I even think we put the Byron Maxwell comp on him earlier because that's the type of player he could be.
Talked to him before the season, too. Very smart guy, loves the tape. I always fall in love with those guys. All right, we're going to number 29, New England Patriots. They've been Clavon Chason, the edge defender from LSU. A guy, give me your take on this guy.
I would say he fits sort of the Patriots, what they like in terms of the guys who can rush the passer while also dropping into coverage. He is a freak athletically. His movement skills are off the charts, right up there with Julian Okwara in terms of if you're putting a pin in the most athletic, who's going to test the best at the combine at the edge position, to be him, Chason or Okwara. They're both just move that well athletically. So he could play even off ball for them, make the similar sort of leap that Dante Hightower did from sort of an outside linebacker position at Alabama to now off ball linebacker. But just a versatile type of player, still not super productive as a pass rusher, but like I said, I think he fits the Patriots scheme, and it's difficult to find athletes that are as freaky as him in the NFL.
They do love to turn those former edge defenders into off ball linebackers. They've done that with Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, Calvin Munson, San Diego State alum, guy on the practice squad for the Pats. That's another guy down the road. You'll see. You'll see. Number 30 here, New Orleans Saints, Henry Ruggs, bringing an absolute fireworks show to kind of help that window, that real tight window with Drew Brees. You got Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, Ted Ginn, you bring in Henry Ruggs. I really do like this fit.
Yeah, I was going to say another guy to take the top off of defense, sort of a complementary piece to Michael Thomas. It's like, oh, you want to put your best cornerback on Michael Thomas? Oh, we'll put this other guy in Henry Ruggs, and he's going to run a 4-3 right past you. I just think he is dynamic, and his ball skills are superb as well. Only 4 drops on 100 catchable passes his entire career. That's not Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn, the drops. That's the opposite of Ted Ginn. This dude has legit ball skills and legit 4-3 type speed.
Ted Ginn without the drops? Now you're talking. All right, let's go. Number 31, Baltimore Ravens, Travis Etienne. You got a running back going in the first round. Here at PFF, this is what you think will happen. Definitely not what we do. But Travis Etienne, one of the most explosive backs in the country. Well, let's just say it. The most explosive back in the country. Forces missed tackles with reckless abandon. Ton of yards after contact. A threat for the home run every time he carries the ball.
I would say he's going to break the PFF record in terms of broken tackles per rushing attempt this season. He is just off the charts in terms of explosiveness and elusiveness. And if there's any offense that could covet a running back at that high level because of the space they create, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. Imagine Lamar Jackson and Travis Etienne, how fast you can play with those two guys in the backfield and how much fear you can put into opposing defenses. That'd be worthwhile. That might be worth. We might even get on board with the first round pick.
That is an electric backfield. I'm excited. Let's go. 32. Last one here. Super Bowl winners. San Francisco 49ers. They bring local product. Ashton Davis, the safety. Ton of range. Former track star, high hurdler, I believe. He goes to Cal. Has a good time there. Good production. He goes to San Francisco, where they need help in the secondary.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward has been a turned around, massive season for him, for the 49ers, but he's going to be a free agent after this season. And the rest of the safeties there for the 49ers not been quite as good. So Ashton Davis has versatility, can play over the slot if you want him to, but also has the range on the back end for all those single high coverages that the 49ers do run. Put him in the middle of that, and all of a sudden I'm not going to say you have Earl Thomas, but you have a guy with that sort of speed. He has that. He has at least sub 4.4 speed, like I said, the former track star, and we've seen him make plays from that middle of the field roll all the way to the sideline, pick off some passes in his career at Cal.
You heard it here first. Niners getting Earl Thomas reincarnated with Ashton Davis. No, but Ashton Davis, really good player, great fit for San Francisco. That's going to do it for our latest mock draft courtesy of PFF. That's the 2020 NFL mock draft. For more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to PFF's YouTube channel or go ahead and go to the site at pff.com.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.